All right, so now we've got to this particular point in the thing. I'm going to talk to you about the book that I've got that's just written where I've talked about all of this. So I have a book coming out called The Palmistry of Fingerprint Patterns, and the examples and the illustrations that are presented in this talk about the fingerprint identification come from this book. And the book is basically a 45,000 word dissertation on significance of the fingerprint patterns. So if I go just show you the table of contents of the book, a little bit on the history and the terminology, which is what we've been discussing today, and the anthropological distributions of fingerprint patterns. But mainly what I'm focusing on, once I've got the sort of scientific stuff out the way, is on the psychological significance of the fingerprint patterns and their significance when they're found on each of the digits. So we got the psychology of the fingerprint patterns, the psychology of the fingers, and what it means to have each of those fingerprint patterns on each of those fingers. Obviously, with the exception of the radial loop and the tented arch on some of those digits, because we don't see them often enough to know what they signify. But the book is a thorough exposition of the significance and meaning of these patterns when you find them on each of the fingers, both collectively and individually. In addition to that, I also talk about the fingerprint patterns that can be found in the palm. So whilst you get them on the end of your digits, you also get them right across the palm as well. So there are about 18 or 19 distinct patterns that can be found in the palm in different parts of the hand, which are really significant in terms of the motivations that they affect for people in their lives. I also talk about the genetic and the medical significance of fingerprint patterns. Um, there's been about 100 years or so of research into the significance of fingerprint patterns from a genetic point of view, from the point of view of diagnosing chromosomal disorders, the most famous of which is Down syndrome. So I talk about the different types of formations that can occur in the hands of people with Down syndrome. But I always think of the genetic component of the fingerprint patterns as really sort of a physiological and physically manifest form of the karmic consequences and significance of the fingerprint patterns. So I have a chapter in the book about fingerprints and your karmic path, as well as a chapter on the genetic significance of your fingerprint patterns as well. There are two appendices. There were two. The first appendix is to give a complete statistical breakdown of the fingerprint patterns on each of the fingers, and that's going to be available as a free PDF. So if you'd like to get that, you can pop me an email. If you send me an email, I will send you a free copy of the distribution of the fingerprint pattern, so you can work out how common or how rare the fingerprint patterns are on each of your fingers. And the second appendix talks about the embryogenesis of the fingerprints, and how they form in the womb and when they form in the womb. Most people are not aware that the fingerprint patterns form between the 12th and the 16th week of gestation, so really quite early on in the fetal development, and they remain unchanged from that time until the day you die. So the genetic significance of fingerprint patterns is really, really important, but then their medical and psychological significance are also important. And to kind of illustrate that, I've given some examples of some famous people whose fingerprints we happen to know, and I've done an assessment of their personality based upon their fingerprint patterns. So Jimi Hendrix has a very unusual set of fingerprint patterns, as does Malcolm X, as I mentioned earlier on. He has two neutered loops. And for good measure, we also have John Lennon in there as well. So he's got primarily whirls and loops. So uh, little interpretations of personality from the fingerprint patterns of these famous people you should find that interesting and entertaining as well. Now, this book was actually first written in about 1991, and some people were able to get a copy of that when I was teaching hand reading in the 1990s. And and they have basically based their hand reading career on the work and the information that's in this book. So Johnny Fincham is probably familiar to many of you. and Lynn Seal and Felicity all studied with me in the 1990s. Um, and it basically has been a sort of primer for them, or as Johnny refers to it, the Bible of pattern analysis. So um, it's basically a book that's had a lot of time and effort put into it from when I wrote it and researched it, but also it's actually been road tested for 30 years as well. So it's actually a very, very comprehensive book on the nature of fingerprint patterns, the distributions, and the meaning and significance of those patterns when they're found on your fingers and in the palm. So the book's available from the 27th of January in 2026. If you can't wait till that time, you can pre-order your copy from the publisher or from Amazon directly. Um, and get a copy of the book as soon as it comes out. Um, it's 12.99 UK, 18.95 in the US, and hopefully you'll be able to get it easily in the country that you're in. Initially, it'll only be in English, um, but it's going to be a valuable addition to your handreading collection, and it will change how you see and understand yourself. If you'd like to know more about my work and what I do, you're welcome to look me up online. I have a website at handreading.nz. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel at Master Handreader. And if you're serious about studying handreading, then I invite you to come and pay me a visit at Patreon, which is where I'm teaching students how to read hands and to learn how to assess hands. Currently doing a large project on the hands of criminals, which I think will be presented at the next conference of the International Handreading Association. So the handreadinginternational.com is the website for the IHRA, the International Handreading Association, which I co-founded with Felicity Bowie, Lynn Seal, and Johnny Fincham. And we run two conferences a year, usually in about March and October. The next one's coming up on October the 25th and 26th. So if you're interested in that, go and check out that at handreadinginternational.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and I hope this has been a good thing for you to do today. So um, thank you for your time, and thank you for your interest in fingerprints and handwriting. As I say, if you want to find out more, come and look at my website or go to my YouTube channel, and you will find lots more videos there which you can learn more about the basics of handwriting. And if you're serious about studying handwriting, then come and visit me at Patreon. I look forward to seeing you soon.